And we're back with the Cain Corner, tugging for Tarant. The conclusion or just the beginning?
You could find you're allowed to come. Please come. You will come now. You've been tugging for too long.
It's been months, Gabe. It's been months. These poor men have been tugged raw.
If we let them tug any longer, they'll troon out. Actually,
Tuning for Tarant. And yeah, it's good to be back to do this one. Tarant. Last time when we recorded, we were both like, wow, we got to make sure we do justice for Tarant. And I still feel that way. This is, within gaming, I'll just say within fiction in general, there's certain places or characters, things that are just so iconic in your memory that you can taste it, you can smell. Like there's passages of a book where you just remember key phrasings. I'll never forget as long as I live. Like Book of the New Sun, when he's like he meets Hervor, the little freak who starts getting obsessive and talks about like shave their pubes, master, shave them and just humiliate them. Like that's one of those conversations I could taste. Tarant is a place for me that's like as real in my memory as places I've actually been. And so hopefully we can do it justice today. Cause that's where we're starting out, quick recap. We've been through Shattered Hills. We crash landed off the Zephyr, our guys, and we have a mission now to take the Ring of Tarant and find the owner, initials GB, located at P. Schuyler and Sons. And I'm still using my little guy, Maddox Burrows, the little ugly thief. And did you have both of your characters go through here? Your tech guy and your mage?
Yeah, Mordecai has been to our Tarant, I believe, and of course my Uncle Ken build by Bill the Bomb. Yeah, that's his name. What's his first name?
Did he freak out? Did he just start lose his mind at the sight of the towers?
Oh my god, I'm going insane. These orcish men are sexually harassing women on the street. The West has fallen.
Yeah, half orcs about.
I'm not making that up. That's a canonical thing. The lady that runs the brothels in Arcanum literally complains in the newspaper about orcish workers sexually harassing native Tarantian women on the street.
We'll have to cover the newspapers because first things first. So today, hoping to cover. We're arriving Tarant. Both of us are, sort of starting just walking into town, do some questing, kind of explore and talk about what makes the city what it is, and then at least get up to the P. Schuyler and Sons conclusion. Maybe we'll go farther than that, depending how long things go. We'll kind of play it by ear. I with Shrouded Hills, I remember I was thinking a two-parter, and it didn't make sense once we were partway through it. So I don't want to promise anything in particular, but. Yeah, I mean, let's get into it. It's one of those that iconic, at least for me, the entrance even is iconic because you start off at the edge of this bridge. You got two guards. If you're like me, they spit on you when you ask them for directions. And it's what I think makes it special because it's a very large location. There's a ton of buildings. There's like 40 something buildings.
Is it 59 actually? Yeah, I sent you an image actually. You could pop it up in post right here. Boop. Yeah, it's over 59 interiors actually in the game.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. That's crazy. And yeah, each of these is a building. And some of these are, even like an expanded interior once you go inside, like Gilbert Bates Mansion or some of these other things. But a lot of it is just one continuous surface. So even, call back to our Toddly episode reference, a lot of the interiors when you're in an Oblivion city or something, it's a loading screen, you're in it. This is just sort of one contiguous space with just characters constantly walking around. And, it's not quite as dynamic as say an Oblivion would be where there's, really intense scheduling, but there is scheduling. People will go in and out of their storefronts, open, shut. You really feel like you're lost in a world here. And I think the city actually layout adds to that because there's so many streets and the way you have to figure out where everything is not handheld for you. So you really have to know, like, Vermilion Street, of course, or was it Mulligan Bone Alley? Like, where that is once you've been playing for an hour or several hours.
Or Grimshaw Alley, and all the street names actually have little street signs for that particular street.
Yeah, so you can sort of tag it. Let's
So
see.
sorry, little sisters. There's no mini map. There's no quest markers. You're going to learn to read street names. Damn it! It's what says go to 400 Grimshaw Road. You better be looking
Mm.
at the nearest lamppost.
Yeah, which is super alienating when you first arrive because you ask, "Oh, where is P. Schuyler and Sons?" That's where I need to go, and he says, the guard's like, "Oh, that's an easy one. Up this way, down this way," and you're like, it's like being in a real city. You're like, I have no idea what any of those mean. I guess I'll just kind of read street signs for a bit, wander around. But after you play for a while, you kind of, at least for me, it really gave this built-in feeling of progression of, oh, I'm kind of a city slicker now. I know, this district and that district and how to get there quickly. So yeah, I was a huge fan of that. There is one Morrowind tier street travel. There's a little underground steam subway system, which actually kind of sucks. Do you ever use that? Like if you go up to a little booth, you can fast travel to one of the corners of the city.
It took me a long while to realize when I first played to realize what it was. To actually figure
Mm-hmm.
out actually how the Steam system works. You just get used to walking around. I like walking around in Tarant, so
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
only when I'm
likewise.
grinding.
I often just skip it unless it's like I'm going to the exact opposite end of the map because they're not very clearly marked. And also, when you talk to the person, it's the same situation where it's like, oh, this train takes you to Vibaway Park or whatever it's called. I actually don't even remember those ones as well as the street names because it's just a random. One is obvious because the docks, and so what's Toronto's layout. And I think we'll probably stick more to the south side, but there's sort of this mixed use, I guess, residential with a little bit of commercial on sort of the southwest side. Then the southeast side, you have the docks, the whorehouses, and the thieves, and all that stuff. And then you have like more of a magical merchant quarter and a upper class merchant in the middle. And then at the top, there's like the university and all that, university and some offices. And then on the east side, it's like the factory district is sort of the general layout.
Right. Yeah, and when you first, I would like to harp a little bit on the entrance of Arcanum because when you enter Arcanum, you're on a bridge. It's better if it's nighttime. Actually, it's way better if you enter at night because all the lights on the bridge
Yeah.
are lit up. It's comfy. To bring that dated term, it's comfy when you first enter Toronto.
Why is it as comfortable as it is? Like, why do I love this location as much as I do? Because I actually was reading some online criticism of it, and people were saying, "Oh, it's a lot of samey looking stuff," because this is sort of a more tile based art set, right? There's not a bunch of hand drawn. Here's the statue of Blippity. Here's the unique mosaic for the entrance of Tarant. And maybe it wasn't, economical thing, but I actually think it adds to the personality to your point that it's samey in the way that the streets of a city feel samey, right? It's, you have maybe some unique art in a few places, but a lot of the time, especially come as a newcomer, it's just sort of a gray street after gray street. And then you have this melody playing over it. I'll add in here in post. There's just maybe my favorite song from the OST. It's not the most bright or like ear catching, but it's fantastic background music.
It's fantastic background music. The thing with Tarant is, you're right. Where the city, let's be honest, it's gray. It's nothing but gray bricks.
Yeah, you get a few red bricks when you're in the docks. You get a little break, a little breather.
You get a tiny little playful breather, a little bit, but it is overwhelmingly gray. But it's the disconnect from all the little villages you get when you walk in. You got what Castigliones or Castelgons, little merchant shop right next to the entranceway. There is a strong sense. You get the music carries the game in a lot of ways. I do think the soundtrack carries Arcanum a lot.
Yeah. Well, let's get into like the city itself, and we can wax poetic on more as we go. But I just want to kind of capture the day one experience because again, I think I'd said this during the Shrouded Hills one, but I think if the game was just Shrouded Hills and Tarant, maybe like one conclusion after, I think that actually would have been a pretty satisfying game by itself because it's just so much denseness here. But yeah, you come in, you feel like, what the fuck am I doing? My little thief guy, he was actually starting to get his legs under him a little bit in terms of his character build. And one of the first things I did, I went into Grant's Tavern just to get the experience. I have what's her name? I have Virgil still with me, and then I have the tech healing lady whose name I forget because she still doesn't have much personality.
Oh yeah,
But
that
we go in
whore
and
for technology the tech thought that I burnt to crisp.
yeah, that you burnt to the ground. I went into Grant's like grab a beer, and I got attacked instantly by the first guy I talked to. He did the you have to lick my boots routine to me. I just don't like the way you look. I think you kind of suck. And because my guy is so ugly, I went in and I backstabbed him. My team beat him up, and then the bartender was like, I don't like you fighting my patrons, whatever. He just attacked me too. And so canonically, our first thing we showed up, and then we got in a brawl at the tavern and killed the tavern keeper and some
It
random
sounds
asshole.
just like, man, this actually is an accurate portrayal of London. You get knifed as soon as you walk into an establishment.
The knife laws need to be tightened up there. But then I went right to P. Skylar's. Like, did you dawdle much? Or because I did some questing before, but I just was like, all right, let's see what's going on there.
Well, I think I told you this story when I think I told you this privately. If I remember correctly, I think I just explored the city way before I even went to P. Schuler's. I think it's
Mhm.
Schuler's because of the U.
Okay.
I'll go say P. Schuler's and Shuns.
Okay. We can, yeah,
So
we can, gentlemen can disagree.
it's just gentlemen's disagreement, but we can disagree on in the gentlemen's club, which is also a main feature in the game. Which is also immersive points. Women aren't allowed in the gentlemen's club, by the way.
Yeah. Guy
But
heaven.
when you walk into the city, I remember exploring this entire city, and I remember I went all the way to the warehouses in the far right corner of the map. And there's a warehouse with like a bunch of mechanical spiders in there that certain DMs won't let you have at the start of the campaign, despite being a tech build. But we're not going to go there. Um, and then on the far right, there's this random orc. It's an empty warehouse. There's an orc like defending a chest. So I save. I think I either talked the orc into letting me have access to the room, or I killed him. I can't remember. And inside this orc is a custom item. It's a unique item. It's a painting. And I'm like, oh, that's odd. And I eventually find out. I go to this lady's house in the far bottom right corner of the map, and I discovered that she actually had this painted. This painting was stolen from her, and she was offering a reward. You get two options. You could say, "Oh, yes, of course, I'm here for the reward," and then she will automatically assume that you're the thief because like. Because like, how is it that you randomly decide out of the blue did not start this question with me? If you don't talk to her, she assumes that you're the one who stole the painting, right?
Oh,
Because
that's
she doesn't
great.
recognize you, and so you don't get the reward money. You get double the reward money if you do it as a good Samaritan and say no. Oh no, it just kindness my own heart, dear ma'am. I'm here to do justice and right wrongs. And
Mhm.
you can literally leapfrog. You can basically just skip four quest stages because that quest in particular, the stealing of that particular painting, is a full
Mhm.
blown quest line. Right? You
Yeah. You
you
have to go to the
find out
fortune teller lady, right?
you go to the gentleman's club. You have to go to the record keepers to find out this guy's passport that he left in the gentleman's club is fake and belongs to a different guy. You go to the warehouse where the thieves are and get the key off of them. It's a full blown
Mhm.
process originally, like the
Oh, that's
OG
interesting. See,
quest
I
line.
did it a different way. So how do you even know to go to the gentleman's club?
You talk to her. Her husband goes to her husband frequents that gentleman's club, and he blurts out about the painting when he was drunk, and
Mm.
the thief overheard it while in the gentleman's club. And you have to pay the bouncer to give you info, and then you find the passport, the name of the guy, find the records of the guy. You find the warehouse where the thieves are hiding. You kill them, or get information that way. Then you go to the warehouse where the orc is. That's where you find out what warehouse number, because all the warehouses have names, like Seven
Mhm.
Lions Head Circle, like that's the address of the warehouse. So you have to go to that address to find the warehouse, to find where the orc is, and then you find a painting. But since it's not, this is the Cain's code, right? In Todd's law, that painting would not be generated. There's multiple quests in Skyrim where if you try to leapfrog like that, like, oh, it's in, like, oh, the dwarven axe that Faendal needs in Riften, it's in Bleak Falls Barrow. I can just leapfrog it and then give it to him immediately. No, in Bethesda games, in Todd's Law, the quest item will not even spawn until you get the quest.
Mhm.
So you can clear out the entire dungeon, and womp, sorry, you had to talk to the NPC, and then the item will magically
Yeah.
appear.
Then you have to go back to this empty ass dungeon to just pick it up and take it back. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of extra work to, account for all the possible variations, but it makes it really cool. And actually, I had a similar experience this time where I was just robbing stuff later on. I just stumbled across. I was like, oh, I forgot this was here. I was just, breaking and entering because my guy's a little thief.
It's such a memorable thing. It's such a unique thing where, yeah, like for Todd, it'd be like, oh, you're missing all the content, or you missed a Gentleman's Club. You missed that stuff. But you technically you're skipping the quest. But the very fact that I accidentally stumbled into this quest line, and did you see it in a newspaper? Right, you see it in a newspaper, a woman missing a fabulous one of a kind painting, and then you get two newspapers, one where you get to notice the damn quest even existing, and the second one where you get hailed as the hero for finding it. The reactivity of it is so unique and it's so rewarding. Where you
Yeah.
actually see it, actually your actions actually having ripple effects in the Tarantian society.
Yeah, the newspaper is just a nice touch. Like, I wish more games would do that. They will often have chatter and people will comment on it, but it's a very natural way to just sort of have your sort of exploits repeated back to you. To see it react to is just a really fun way to feel immersed in the setting. And actually, you know what I did when I first arrived? Did you go to the telegram office? That was my first stop. Actually, I
The
forgot
newspaper,
about that.
yes, and they ask you about your backstory of how much you know about the Zephyr.
Oh, no, the telegram. I didn't do the newspaper. I actually have not. I did
Oh, the
not go there
telegram.
yet.
Yes, that's where you get the next lead, right? Because Yoakum, Virgil's mentor, leaves a message, leaves a telegram. And for all the Zoomers out there, a telegram is like, imagine like a cottagecore version of texting. That's what telegrams are.
Yeah. Yeah, just lines and dots, man. That's all you need. Yeah, he told me to leave. I think he literally called me stinky, and I stumbled out and read it. And Virgil sub-vocalized again, interrupted me while I was reading it, so I couldn't finish. I think he just says lay low, and I mean Stillwater later, but you don't know where Stillwater is yet. And that I think he says, oh, the looking hand guys after us, they might not be all bad. So you get a little bit of a teaser, a little more building of like who these people are that are trying to assassinate you. And I had a kind of an emotional moment actually after this. So I went to P. Schuyler's. I meet Magnus, a dwarf named Magnus who's sitting outside. And I know a little bit metagamey, but I was like, I'm going to switch out Virgil now. And I fired Virgil, dude. This is what I did right after I arrived.
You fired for a DEI hire?
Yeah, I fired for get more representation. I have my party is now only actually 0% white male. It's so there's a white halfling, but otherwise got a female, got a dwarf. That counts for something.
Yeah, dwarfish equity and inclusion hire.
Yeah. he but it was really good voice acting. I've never kicked Virgil out before because he's like a very good party member, great voice acting. I think I told you earlier, he has this weird, I think if you get to a really, really high tech level, he stops trying to cast heal on you. But my guy is sort of a light to medium-ish into tech and thieving kind of guy. And so it was just, I was getting a bunch of like bounce back heal things where he would waste his fatigue and he would be like passing out, gasping on the floor, doing nothing. So it was already starting to get bad. It's like, all right, let's just get rid of it. And yeah, and he's like, oh, I can do this. I can help you. Don't make me go. And I was like, I'm sorry. I just don't see how we can make this work. I'm a techie. You're a magic guy. We could never be together. I didn't say that, but the language was just sort of dismissing, like, thank you, but and I wasn't a jerk about it, but it was a genuinely touching moment because he's a character I have a lot of affection for. Slightly undercut by the fact that we were doing it in the back alley of B. Schuyler and Sons, and he was naked because I'd already stripped him of all his goods, so I could keep his sell his premium equipment. But he walked away in his box out of Tarant to.
Are you sure you're not playing a gnome character?
A little bit of a gnomish
literally taking the clothes off the white man's back. I'm sure.
Maybe I'll pick him up again.
We're so sorry, but we got to. I know you did everything for me. I know you literally saved my life and all, but I'm sorry. You're just too stale, pale male. You're too tall.
Yeah, we need more ladies around here. If you see any half ogre women, send them my way. But yeah, then I picked up what's his name, Magnus. I picked up Magnus.
Yeah, and Magnus is a great character because he's a weeb for dwarfish culture. Like he is literally the detached. Like he is the like third generation Italian immigrant that LARPs as like Vatican to destroy. Like he's the trad capital LARPing like fourth
Yeah.
generation. Like can barely remember like his Italian grandmother like saying cuss words in Italian.
He's the guy from Sopranos. Who's the guy with the silver sides of his hair? And he goes back to Italy, and he's like, "Hey, where's the pasta sauce in the spaghetti?" And all the Italians look at him like, "Who is this barbarian? What the fuck is he doing?" You know, because he's like a Jersey guy.
Oh, Paulie
Yeah,
Walnuts.
he's Paulie. Yeah, Seamus is the Paulie of the dwarf world because he's a city dwarf. He's kind of a I don't know if he's an orphan, but he's like born and raised in the city. He doesn't know his clan. That's his story, which is a very classic fantasy story, but it's really delivered well here.
He only all his knowledge of dwarfish culture is from in real life. It'd be Hearts of Iron 4, it would be
Yeah.
Hearts of Iron 4, but in this case, it's a Tarantian guide to dwarfish culture written by a white human male. And
Yeah.
so he's a dwarf who's totally just deracinated. He's a fellaheen of his own native culture. So
Hmm.
he can only integrate dwarfish culture through the eyes of a cosmopolitan outlook or from a fellow dwarfish weeb.
Yeah, and he's got great characterization, and then his story as you approach P. Skylar and Sons, and I didn't go in at this point. I just started like I met him, and then I interviewed the guy inside. Is yeah, he suspects that there's something evil magic wise going on there, and that he's got a bracelet that he thinks originated from them. And then he tells you some sort of spooky stories about their goods, killing people. There's a curse on it or something. So it sounds spooky. And I was just barely good enough to recruit him because was one of the requirements. You have to be like a good, on the good evil scale we talked about last time. You have to be on a little bit on the good side, or else he'll say, "You're just too damn evil for me, friend,"
Yeah,
and tell you to fuck off.
yeah, he'll give you a woke lecture if you burn a woman alive.
Yeah, so you give him some snuff to forget about it.
Nothing so good. Traditional OG like Thing Japan, Thing Dwarf. Yes, this great dwarfish smuff.
Yeah. And then I went in to interview the guy and just got the cold shoulder. And then my plan is I was like, okay, I'm gonna break in at night because I'm a thief. That's how we do. So I'm just gonna go like have fun, explore around the city the rest of the day because the guy at the desk is just like can't help you. They're the owners are out or something. No refunds. So you basically have to take it in your own hands. Unless I think if you're high persuasion, you can have him spill the beans.
Yeah, I think I spilled my spaghetti. I played a high persuasion character the first time around, but my first time playing, I can't remember why, but I think I fucked up. So I either ended up pickpocketing the key from him or killing him, or ended up breaking the door.
Yeah. Murdering him is like the most direct option. If you persuade him, you can actually still have him killed. If you like have him say too much, he just has like a skeleton come out of the ground, like that red death skeleton, like animation, like pulls him down and steals his soul. So, but if you tell him to like just tell you enough, he'll give you the key. Because I did do a persuasion build ages ago, at least up to this point. But yeah, this time I snuck in later after I'd explored the city, and it was easy for my guy because he's a thief build. He's got points into lock picking and stuff.
Yeah, if you're not. By the way, do the necromancers in the basement actually give you shit for being ugly too?
They didn't. They accepted me.
You know,
Yeah, yeah. Like, if you're among ugly people and monsters, they don't care. It's just the people, the surface dwellers that judge me.
see, the necromancers believe in tolerance and inclusion.
Yeah.
And but first time I did not get back this because I ended up actually liking the necromancers. I'm like, this is a fair point.
Mm.
Because I think they always think, no one. This was a ghetto. This like, yeah, technically we built our merchant shop on top of a dwarf's graveyard, but all these dwarfs were poor and slaves and ghetto and cringe. So like,
Mm.
it's effective altruism basically. It's like technically the morale, the goodwill, the world goes up and no one knows about it. Like if slave labor happens but no one knows about slave labor, you just enjoy your chocolate in peace. The worldwide effect, worldwide happiness meter, like the worldwide
Yeah.
GDP goes up.
Increase.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Greenland does go up as long as no one knows about it. So, are we really doing anything wrong, Mister?
Yeah. Lashing the ghosts, the souls of the dead, to the wheel.
Yeah. So yeah, I ended up like, it's a fair point. I let him live, and Magnus got mad at me. Yet again, he gave me a woke lecture about it. So, for our
Yeah.
first playthrough, I did not have Magnus.
Yeah, and this time did you bother? So you just didn't bother with your mage guy? You're like, I know he's gonna hate what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, with my human, with my Anprim characters, like yeah, fuck the exploitation of this capitalistic grave robbing, right? Because
Hmm.
they use it to fuel their business, if I recall correctly. No, I think the business is a front for the necromancy.
Yeah, that's the reveal. Yeah, when you get to the bottom, you see there's these ancient dwarves that have been necromancied into slave labor, basically just building little rings and gems for these guys. And the actual dungeon, I guess let's just dive into it.
Yeah, in life they were coal posters, but in life they produce in on death they produce gems.
Because they even say that when you go down there, they're like, "Wow, they look like kind of fucked up. Like they just look like ugly little freak dwarves." And I guess the implication is they're some kind of quasi dwarf, maybe, or some kind of in between race from like a really ancient time that genetically just doesn't would not even have been with. They couldn't be the relatives of Magnus.
Yeah, they're the Cro-Magnons. They're the dwarves that couldn't breathe. They're incel dwarves.
Mm. But in the dungeon itself, like combat wise, it's just zombies. I remember getting my butt slapped by this one when I was a kid. Like I stepped down there and I was like terrified. And there's the whole animation of zombies like jumping out of the ground and they break out. It was a cakewalk this time because man, my build was like coming together. I basically learned. I keep amending my thoughts about like the combat system and how to optimize. And now I'm like I get it. Like I have my what is the guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? I get it now, Frank.
Danny,
that moment.
your character's now canonically Danny DeVito.
He is, yeah. He's Danny DeVito getting it because he's like, oh yeah, it's all about action points. Like I got my decks. I got 2 rings of the electric rings that give you +2 decks, so +4 decks there. I use the spell. Only spell I hit no or use is the agility of fire, gives me +4 decks. It's +8 decks. And then I think my decks was at 12. So whatever. I'm effectively at 20 decks. So like my speed is maxed out. And so I can just like zip around like a monster, get behind these guys. And then I'm using daggers, which are like high speed. Oh, and that's the other thing. Magnus will build you balanced swords, which are like some of the fastest, almost the fastest weapons in the game. And so if you equip that, you can get, I think it's like 3 action points per attack. And so if you have, what do I have? I think I have 20 action points per turn. So, maybe a move or two to get behind the guy. But yeah, that's a lot of damage. Like I calculated like the max damage my guy would do. It's pretty wild at this early of a level. I did not expect this build to be that good, but backstab is really fucking good in Arcanum.
Instead of a stealth archer problem, we got the stealth backstabbing problem. The stealth build is too OP.
Pretty much. I mean, there's a whole thing with tabletop games and tactical games, like the action economy. And this one, I think Fallout's the same. If you get a build that maximizes action point use, as opposed to a lot of games where you just get 1 action per turn or 2 actions per turn. But if you have a system like this where it's action point heavy, it's basically just about optimizing your action points. And then everything after that is kind of unimportant. So yeah, anyway, I was like zipping around this time. I assume you it was pretty much a cakewalk because your guy was spamming harm and just blowing him away.
Yes, total harm supremacy. But when you're a dark elf, this is an average Tuesday. Slavery is the backbone of aristocracy. Nietzsche speaks of this.
So you're like completely unfazed, untroubled in your lane. Yeah, and then just got down there. I don't think it really was nothing too crazy. It was it's like a 3 level, pretty simple little dungeon, like which I like. I think it really fits the where you are at this stage of the game. Then you get down the bottom, you talk. You can either negotiate with the guys, like you said, the necromancers are pretty chill. Like they're upset that you broke into their house, of course. I'm a little less sympathetic because I know they've kind of enslaved the guy on the surface, and he's still alive. So a little bit of evil there, I suppose. But otherwise, they just want to kind of live in peace in their, according to their traditions.
Just want to vibe out and chill, and that's another aspect with Tarant is everything feels like yes, there's a secret death cult running in the middle of the town, but it's so believable. Like the way Tarant is constructed is like you got they have their own library, their own university. You got the zoological society, which there's a sense of history of lived in history to the universe of Arcanum because they have their own version of dinosaurs. There's a giant dragon bone. You got a dragon egg,
Hmm.
and you can actually go to you can actually go to a library, and of course you have to pay the membership fee. And the library used to be the king's library, but he made it public. And the king was a reforming king. He was a progressive king. He actually donated his library to charity, but apparently he wasn't industrial enough for a certain subset of creatures. The illustrious and extremely respectable Gnomish Merchants Guild, everyone's favorite lobby in the Tarant parliamentary group.
Hmm.
So there's much slander has been made of this good guild's name, accusing them of killing the king and taking over the parliament and to industrialize and flood Tarant with orcish slave labor in order to have complete control of the Tarantians' political landscape.
Hmm.
As we all know, that's a completely bigoted slander.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a conspiracy theory, which I did pursue in this one. But I guess just closing out the Skylers guys. What was your canonical end on it with these guys?
Well, with my human character, I ended up moral cucking. I did end up killing all of them so I can get Magnus because Magnus is very useful.
Yeah, same here. To be honest, I didn't really begrudge them that much, but yeah, it was kind of like that. My wife told me to go talk to the guy at the front at the desk to complain. It's like shit. I really can't say no. I gotta save face here. Look like a tough guy. So yeah, I was like, sorry, I gotta kill you guys for your crimes against humanity. And
You're even in a fantasy realm, you're still a certified wife guy.
yeah, natural wife guy. That's my role play, my preferred life role play too. My character's class. Yeah, and what's her name? Didn't have much to say. I keep forgetting her name. Hold on, I'm looking it up now.
None of the companions are as fleshed out. Like the big three, like really canon companions is of course Virgil. His quest line goes all the way up until the end of the game itself.
Hmm.
Like he's basically part of the main quest. His particular quest line. Him, Vollinger, and Magnus. Like those are the three actual companions. Everything else is kind of like work for hire kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, they're just kind of there to almost more just to round out parties too. Like some of the later ones are more interesting. Jaina Styles, that's her name. Her in particular, she's a little bit tacked on. And I basically just have her. She just makes healing shit for me. So I may ditch her at some point just for being boring because I don't have the sex appeal, the charisma to like have a lot of people.
Yeah, she's just your trap queen. She just makes shit on the stove for you to either sell or get high off of.
Yeah, exactly. What she does, she could do some like the therapeutic stuff that gives you health or strength bonuses and all that, which is pretty good. I'm just kind of lazy to remember to use it. Again, magic being superior, you just don't have to think about that stuff. Your guys will just spam it for you. Whereas she's really dumb, and even if she makes health stuff, if you let her hold it, she'll just use it. You get like 1 point of HP damage, and then she'll use one of your healing salves. And it's like, well, that wasn't very efficient. That wasn't very cash money of you to just blow my fucking. She'll do that constantly. And so if you give all of your healing supplies to her, you'll have like one fight with a rat, and then you'll just be completely out because she just constantly heals you.
No, yeah, she's a devoted woman. She is devoted at least. She's a top bitch.
Yeah, I mean, it's very real life. Without a man to instruct her, she'll just just fuck it up. Same with bandages too, which is really annoying because also remember I told you bandages are another like healing thing, but there's an animation tied to it. She'll just run up to you and start trying to, even if you're walking, if you have 1 HP damage, and just burn through and not even heal a single point because the animation won't finish because you're walking. And it's just like, oh my god, this is so rough. And it's like, yeah, just another reason tech is harder because you have to manage your healing inventory, even if you have a quote unquote healer in your party, because her AI can't handle it.
See, this is why you need to heal Twink. This is why you need to heal Twink mentally at all times.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. They just didn't give us one with this game. Just weren't with the times. But yeah, what else? I mean, that was the Skylers. Pretty. We kind of blew through it fast, but it's a very like dread filled. especially for a new player, like it adds to this mystery of this city. Like, wow, anything could be going on, right? You're in this industrial city, and at the middle, like you said, you have this weird necromancer death cult like, right underneath your feet.
and and speaking of the lived-in thing, like my favorite aspects is also because the zoological society, where they give you some of the ancient lore. Like there's a and much like in the Victorian era, they're discovering ancient bones. They're trying to connect it to the prehistory of Arcanum, trying to find the origin of their species. I mean, the game manual, literally the game comes with a if you're a true patrician, you actually buy the box edition of Arcanum.
Mhm.
The game manual literally comes with an in-universe, just like Darwin's Origin of the Species, but set in the Arcanum universe. And they try to explain the origins of man. And like, hey, why is it that humanoids, like all humanoids, have 5 fingers and 5 toes? Like orcs, humans, dwarves, ogres. There must be some like missing link between all of these humanoid creatures, right? And they actually tried to go full like baby steps first, like origins of the species kind of thing. It's really a nice
Mm.
touch. Seeing the early like eugenics, the early like human biological anthropology going on, and you see it in the zoological society, and you see it in a play of P.T. Barnum's. I think it's H.P. Burnell's. I think
Yeah,
is the
Parnell.
parody
Yeah,
name, and it's like the Museum of Wonders. Look, I have a Sasquatch, and it's just like a sheep's skin on a very shitty statue, and the
there's a lot
world's
of love for
smartest.
the era. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so they did their research so well. Tim Kaine talks about briefly how they would go like research records and primary sources.
Mm.
They do it so in detail and so well. They actually, I shit you not, they actually researched like even Sir Francis Galton himself, like the father of eugenics, because there's this one in the newspaper. There's this one article on the fingerprinting of criminals in the Tarantian Times. Right, talk about this. One researcher says we should fingerprint, the idea of putting ink on a thumb so we can keep track of certain criminals' fingerprints, and
Mm.
that is actually based on an article because the idea for fingerprinting criminals actually came from Sir Francis Galton, actually the father of eugenics. He actually came up with the idea of fingerprinting criminals around the 1890s as well. So that's how well researched they did. They did an obscure, not only the eugenic stuff of Galton, they went down to like him actually like being the forefather of modern day criminology as well. That's
Mm.
how like era accurate they went in the historical research for his fantasy game for Fantasy London. It's such a great touch.
And another Cainism, he did one of his one of his videos. He was talking about things he couldn't fit in, and he said I was slightly baffled because he actually talked about people said Arcanum is comfy or Tarant is comfy, and we'll start talking about his own confusion of that because there's a lot of terrible things going on, but also I guess like the familiarity of the setting and some of the things that they didn't have time to fit in, like the phosphorus girls. Did you see this one where he's talking about the girls
Oh,
like the matchstick girls? They hold a match, they like phosphorus or something on it.
in their mouths and their teeth
Yeah,
would rot away.
they and their whole jaw would like collapse, which is horrifying. And they like protest to get them to stop these. I forget what it was they had to do. It wasn't. It was just. It would have made the process slightly more expensive. Like I guess you get like a mouth bit, where you have to come up with like a machine that just like holds the matches
Yeah,
in between
yeah.
making them.
Their throat game must be insane after that.
One can only imagine. That's what they took from you, Western man. Okay, what else? I mean, so that's sort of like the big, intro to the city. I guess we skipped over some of the other little side quests we did. You retrieve a ring. There's like a guy on the street. It's like, oh, gee willikers, my ring fell in the sewer. You go in, just in a bunch of rats. Oh, so this is a sidebar. And what is it with Cain games and rats? Have you ever noticed? Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Like
Everywhere.
Fallout's the same. I actually, between last time we recorded and today, I played a little bit of Fallout 1 to refresh myself and just to play it. I'm playing forever. I didn't get that far, but it's just like rats as far as the eye can see in that game.
Well, here you don't get fucked with rats until the beginning of Arcane is far more dynamic than Fallout 1 because you have that great opening cinematic for Fallout 1 and they just throw you into the rat
The
cave.
rat
You,
cave, yeah.
you
But then you
spend
go to
half an hour in
Vault
it.
15 or whatever it is, and it's just more rats. There's mole rats, regular rats, large rats. It's rats.
Well, oh wait, I think there's even a rat archetype in Outer Worlds too.
Oh,
And to be
really?
fair, at least most rats are in. And also, Arcanum is one of the sole RPGs Even one of the only ones from Troika, because Troika is not only infamous for having the worst sewer level in gaming. Well, second
Yeah.
only to maybe the Ninja Turtles games from the NES era. But Arcanum is the exact opposite. It's one of the few sewer levels that don't suck.
I don't know. I have not played through these sewers a ton. Like I did the little quest where you get the guy's ring, which is not too big. You just kind of go down a hall to the right, and there's some rats in the way. I don't think there's even any big ones, just regular size. But that's another thing. You're going to see giant rats. You're going to see there's like 5 flavors of giant rat. I don't know, just it was just something that occurred to me playing Fallout a little bit. But that's an easy quest. Like, and you get to explore the sewers, and you realize that the sewers, it's a plot point that comes up later. There's like sections of it that are sealed off that I guess are higher difficulty or something. I haven't messed with those yet.
You see, you got to if you want a pro tip, if you want a good melee build, the only way you get the 2 best weapons in the game. Well, one of the 2 best like mid game weapons from Tarant. Well, after the bridge of Shrouded Hills, you get a fate point, and you want to go meet this racist gnome, like
Well,
that
let's
really.
explain fate points first, because I actually realized we never covered fate points.
Well, the game doesn't cover fate points either, so we're actually being pretty accurate to the game.
Kitchen sink game. A bell ringing. I'm ringing the bell again. I mean, how would you even describe fate points? Do you even remember them when you're playing? I never remember them.
Well, for a gun build, it's necessary because it's the only way you can get your hands on a hand cannon like super early in the game.
Right, you pickpocket it. Well, okay, let me explain mechanically what it is then.
It's an auto success, but it's like a guaranteed like D20 for any action.
Exactly, yeah. And there's like a little drop down in the top middle-ish of your screen, and yeah, you drop it down, and you can get guaranteed success on either a pickpocket, a pick lock, I think an attack, which honestly wouldn't be worth it because like you can attack whenever. So really, people always use it for the thieving shit, as far as I could tell from online guide. Yeah, because that's really the only one that's like useful. But for my guy, since I'm a good thief, and as I've been playing, he's getting more and more thiefy. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to use them for, but you get them for key events. So you get one for getting out of Shroud Hills, like over the bridge. You get one for if you like steal. There's like a very hard thieving quest later. If you steal the object without killing anyone, like you're like the gentleman thief, you get a fate point. It doesn't even tell you this. I found this out in a guide afterwards. I don't know how many. I would guess there's like maybe 10 across the whole game or something like that. There's not a shitload of these things. And you don't get any alert when you get them either, as far as I can tell. It's just you have a little ticker that ticks up by 1.
Well, it's kind of good. That's it's because it forces you to conserve them and like wait
Mm.
like the top 3 is like either force good reaction. So if you're an incel freak, like a certain halfling, you need to talk to someone, you can force a good reaction. Or if,
Okay, I didn't realize that. That might be worth it.
or if you're a human spurg and you need to return a ring to a certain cuckolded man in the docks. If you don't want him to
Mm.
chase you around with his broken knees trying to kill you, you can force a good reaction. Or a critical success on next attack. That could be good if you're like really low on health and you need to instantly win. You can either
Mm.
critical success on next attack, or I think it's also critical success at healing, or critical just or yeah. Honestly, they're situational, but really, what you really want is the stealing, like instant, like guaranteed stealing or guaranteed lock picking to get free shit.
Mm.
That's what you really want, actually.
Yeah, especially in this game because again with the Cain code, it's not things are just out there, and it's another aspect of Tarant being so cool and interesting is you're basically in the full game now. You're in whatever it is in Breath of the Wild. You're on the plateau in Shrouded Hills. There's a little bit more of a limited inventory, like types of equipment around. In Tarant, it's Tarant, man, and like there's just all sorts of shit everywhere, and if you want to do some thieving, you'll find some pretty wild shit, just like permanent stat bonuses, like some of like the best weapons in the game. Like you said, there's like infamously, I think you've mentioned in the previous episode, the hand cannon on the little rude asshole, and then there's the fire axe in the guy's basement. If you're able to get those ones, those like some of the best ones in the game, and you can just if you know the protocol, you can get them. I don't think they're necessary. Maybe the hand cannon if you're doing unmodded, no gun mods, and you're being a gunslinger build. But
Well, yeah.
yeah, otherwise, I just want to
Well,
find it naturally.
Well, with the hand cannon, it makes the sewer level so easier because the hand cannon can literally shoot through vault doors. You can shoot through pure steel.
Oh my god.
Yeah, all the doors are breakable. Usually, if you don't have the dog, the best way to break through doors is through the hand cannon.
Hmm. Yeah, I'll
And
have
you're
to
right.
use them. Oh, go ahead.
And you're right that with Tarant, the best, it's like it literally is the best that Arcanum has to offer. It just lets you. It just says dig in. This is the buffet.
Hmm.
It was like I definitely also I was going to talk about this last one, but we didn't have time. I'd say Toronto is one of the best central cities in RPGs. It's better than New Vegas by far because in New Vegas, objectively speaking, the Vegas Strip itself is a letdown. It is
Why do
nowhere
you
near
say?
as well because other than well, obviously due to consoles, you got in a vanilla New Vegas, the strips is segmented into three little pieces, right? And it's vertical, right? So you feel like it's just one. It's a segmented hallway. Like
Hmm.
it's a broken down. It's one hallway, but with three barriers in it. So it's segmented to like little cubes. In reality, Freeside is segmented, but Freeside is wide. So in many ways, Freeside feels bigger than the strip itself. There's more content in Freeside, and Freeside feels more spacious, despite also having hardware limitations. While the strip is literally a single hallway, basically.
Hmm.
and 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 all the content's locked. Like the quests themselves on the strip are good, but the strip does feel lived in, but nowhere to such because of the segmenting issue. Because of its, again, we're talking about vanilla. I'm not
Hmm.
talking about modded the strip. The strip's quest and interconnectivity isn't as strong as with Torrent. The reactivity
Hmm.
isn't as strong.
Yeah, it's like I'm in the cannibal casino. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna stay in here, do all this. Whereas in this one, maybe and it is just very horizontal, right? It's just one level, which maybe is a little weird considering like the time period. You know, you should maybe in a modern system they would have the stairs, but it adds a certain feeling of this is just you're just going from walking from point A to point B. It's all the characters can run across the same distances and chase you down across it too, and so it does lend this feeling of everything is all together in one place. And there's no gaps at all.
Yeah, when you walk around
Um,
Toronto at nighttime, because everything, none of these, all the interiors are loaded in, so you can actually see through people's windows. Also, you could break the windows and actually break through people's windows, by the way, which is
mhm.
excellent for thieves and also great immersive touch. But you can actually see, like when you walk by a person's house, you can see their furniture through the windows. You could see the warmth of their light. Like it's another, just a little touch of immersion that goes so much. It really goes the long way to really add yourself to the world.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just so much flavor. And there's some places that are like open all night, like you're the whorehouse, you're in the thief area. Things are just open, and yeah, it's really fun to be a thief. Like this is, like I was having fun in Shrouded Hills, but this is like a whole nother level of just like fun of the just like the gambling, push your luck kind of mechanic of thieving in these games, where you just go in, you try, and you always load save if things go really terrible, but you'll be surprised, and the stuff you'll find, I stole. You know, we're not going to go like point by point through all like the little minor side quests, but I did some of the Madame Lil stuff. Not all of it, to be honest. Actually, I didn't do. I think I did like the first two. But you know, there's the little gnome who's like called a homely gentleman, and he's like has endless sexual like constitution or whatever. I actually picked his pocket, and I got his like boner ring. So I got his Viagra and a couple other just random cool gems I got just sneaking around. I found like this gem that makes me more attractive, which I desperately needed, so I'm never letting that go. I did the thief stuff too. This might be a good time to go into that. Have you ever done the thieves guild in this game?
I've never done the Thieves Goes in this game actually.
Did you ever do it in Fallout? I never did in Fallout. What Fallout 1? Because
In
I know there
Fallout
is
One,
a
I
thieves
did.
guild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the random dude with the British accent.
Yeah. I didn't know he was a thing. He was one of those I like after I played Fallout, I like listened to something about it or whatever, and I saw a picture of that guy. I was like, I never saw that face model. Who is this? And I was like, oh, okay. Anyway, you know, I guess I didn't explore that capital city that much. The hub, yeah, the hub. So, you know, compared to the hub actually is an interesting idea because that went over a similar vibe, but just a much smaller scale. And it was even split into zones, probably just for technology reasons of the era, whereas this is like one seamless thing. But yeah, the Thieves Guild is actually a bone I have to pick. It's hard to join the Thieves Guild unless you go to a guide or something. you just, you go up to them, because that's what I did. I was like, went up, I tried to ask if I could, be a thief guild. Hey, I'm a thief. I think if you persuaded your way through at the Thieves of the Bridge, you might be able to get in. But from what I can tell, the main way you join is you do a thieving activity. Like specifically, there's the lady who asks you to steal the what do you call it? The elven gravestone. And after you do that quest, there's a guy standing outside who's like, "Oh, oi, mate, you're a bit of a thief, eh? Maybe you should go talk to Mr. Black down in the whatever area in the docks." And then you're like, "Okay, I'll do that." And you go down. And he's like, "Okay, you're a thief. You're a thief guild guy now," which is pretty. I wouldn't call it radiant level, but it's very much, you don't get like proper written down thieves guild quests generally. There's like a thieves guild boss guy who will give you one or two thieves guild quests, like specifically to prove you're cool to even join. He makes you steal from the water office, like the water plant, like the schematics for the sewers, which is pretty easy if you're a thief at all. And then after that, you just get these, like, if you talk to the little lady that picks your pocket in the train station. Have you ever gotten your pocket picked in Arcanum?
But no, I don't recall a game of Pocket Pick actually.
You might. If you go hang out in the train station, there's a little gnomish lady, and she'll do that stupid little animation, tiptoe animation. She'll walk up behind you, and when you check your inventory, it'll be like, "Oh, you're missing 100 gold or something." Anyway, if you're not in the Thieves Guild, she'll do that to you. But if you talk to her or there's a few other little thieves characters running around the city. They'll just tell you a rumor that's like, "Oh, I heard, the gem, there's like a bag of ruby gems over at the docks area. So go steal those, or go steal HP Parnell has a will-o-wisp ball. Go steal that." And so you just sneak into people's bedrooms. It's very much playing within everything that's already in the city, because it's such a big, meaty city. And just kind of gives you specific targets.
Oh, so it's not like in Skyrim where it's procedurally generated thieving targets. It gives you specific targets to steal from.
It does, yeah. It's definitely, it's handcrafted, but it's like, in terms of level of complexity and depth, it's a little closer to that kind of procedural generation, in terms of there's no like dialogue on these quests. It's really just, oh, go to Merchant X, in his bedroom he has a little like bag of gems or something. There's like a special, visually doesn't look like a gem. It just is like a little bag. Things like that. It's very simple, but they're like fun little challenges you can kind of knock out as you're running around. So I found them a good addition for sure.
Yeah, it's a great. Again, the fact that you have an entire experience as a thief character that's totally unique to you, including get someone attempting to steal from a thief character, is just extremely funny.
Yeah, there's a cool one later that I want to stay with in Tarant, but like after, when we do Black Mountain Clan, I'll mention it. But there's a really cool, like, challenging one they do after. But yeah, the ones I was doing at this point were just these little, just kind of fun, build up some savings, because you get a bit of money, you get like 500 gold or something for each. So at this point, gold was already starting to like build up pretty quickly for my little dude.
Yeah, well, fools in the cash are easily departed.
Yeah, pretty much.
And well, I was about to say, like, another aspect with Tarant is, of course, there's that famous. It's one of the few. This is back when games were allowed to be horny, so you have a brothel where not
Mm.
only you can get threesomes, for of course for our multipolarity Muslim enjoyers, you can also have sex with a goat or a sheep.
Yeah, Bell
One of
the
the girls
sheep.
turns, yeah, Belle the sheep, and not only that, you can actually pimp out. You can actually become a pimp, and there's a quest involving the lady that runs the brothel, and she's the one complaining about the orcs attempting to rape her clientele. No, rape her opposite her clientele, her employees. Yet
Mm.
again, another great, excellent reflection of modern day London. There are is you know. These Deliveroo driving orcs, instead of delivering her food, they rape you. Um,
But the
but
food, Gabe. But the
but
food.
we need the GDP, bro. Think about the GDP. There's a quest where you have to go to this maid, and you can actually convince her to pimp herself out to become actually a sex worker. And it's considered like a morally neutral act. I don't think you even get bad karma for doing it. It's a perfectly normal thing to convince this maid to become an independent woman, become a true cosmopolitan gal, become a sex worker.
According to Tim, these is all written by a woman too.
Really, I did not know that actually.
Yeah, he said she took all the brothel stuff, and he said if you ever want anything dirty written, you had to hire a woman, have a woman's touch on it.
Well, the dialogue was good. I did crack my rat. The writing was actually quite good. Actually, it was very titillating. Actually,
Yeah.
she's
Oh
good at writing
yeah. Oh man.
erotic dialogue.
13-year-old or 14-year-old Davy, whatever, however the hell old I was, he was like, whew, get a little hot and sweaty, you know. Like these animations, you have to understand this was a different time, kids. But even
Sure,
today, the eroticos is comes through
it,
tasteful.
the ancient lion peering through the bush. It's time. He has reawakened.
And actually, I did rob Madame Lil. I forget what the quest was. I just steal something from her. I think it was like some gems from her back room or something like that. But yeah, she's a good lady to work for if you want to get some experience. But unfortunately, she pays you with sex, which is like not that helpful. You know.
Cringe.
Yeah, no, that's not how I felt when I was little. But now I'm not. Now I'm like, can I get some? Excuse me, can I have some XP for this? That would be great.
Spoken like a true wife guy.
Yeah, big wife guy moment. But what else could you do with her? Yeah, most of her
There's a
quests are pretty fetchy. Which is, you know what's interesting? There's a lot of fetch quests. Not saying that necessarily it's a bad thing, but there's a lot of fetch quests when you first get to Tarant, which fits the vibe. Like forces you to walk around and explore, and also it's not as combat challenging, but takes advantage of the cool thing about XP in this game is a lot of the times you get XP from turning in quests rather than just raw combat. So it's a good way to like beef up your more diplomacy, whatever characters.
Yeah, and you become basically an Uber driver. Basically, it makes sense since it's a bustling city. Like, hey, I need to go across town. Can you send this X, Y, and Z? That kind of thing.
Mm.
It makes sense within the lore, within the actual space of Tarant. And yet again, I keep repeating this, but the when you go to like to Toronto University and you go to the doctor of phrenology and he gives you a lecture on skull shapes.
It was so good.
Oh yeah, does he actually sends you to find skulls, if I recall correctly.
Let's see, is he the one? Well, I know you get the Siamese skulls for um, the gnome quest, which you can kick off now. But yeah, I forget. Does he look at the skulls like, or is it different skulls he wants?
Well,
A phrenologist, or is he just a throwaway guy? Is he just like flavor?
well, actually, you do find the skulls in a warehouse. I think it's in Building 45. I think.
Yeah, that's the one I actually accidentally came across. For the painting one, I did do. I think I did play that quest. You solved the painting quest we mentioned earlier by like going to the club. The way I did that one was I did the fortune teller. So alternatively, you go to the fortune teller. She'll say she'll tell you if you like deliver a package to another competing fortune teller, and then if you do that, it like kills her because it, I don't know, eats her soul or something. But then you get the tip of where it is. That's the solution I always did for that. So it was cool to hear the other way you could do it.
Yeah, it's such a again that it's such a memorable quest for me. It's one of my first like after being a Bethesda baby, just seeing something like that. It's like whoa, that's so cool. It's such a it's realism. It's a commitment to like it's part of the Cain code of the Cain Confederacy, where it's a living,
Mm.
breathing world. And it doesn't make sense if you already know where the painting is, or if the painting is stored in a warehouse, it has to be an item in the world that you can interact with.
Yeah, and I know where it is because I played it before, but I don't know. I don't know. It just doesn't seem right. I don't want to break the Kane code. I have to know not too much meta knowledge, which is why I don't even generally optimize equipment too much. And I did take spot trap as a skill. Actually, I'll have you know. So I threw some points down the well for you, Tim. Hope you appreciate what I did.
You actually fell for the trap skill me.
Yeah, I did, but it paid off actually because I don't. Is there anything else you want to do like in Tehran itself? I mean, we can come back and dwell on it, but do you want to do the run up to Gilbert Bates and all that, or
Well, the Tarant is built off the back of Gilbert Bates. Gilbert Bates is the main character of basically the universe.
hmm,
Well, of the human aspect of the universe. Of course, with Aaron X and with the actual the theological side is, of course, of elves and all that. But for the human side, Gilbert Bates is basically the Prometheus figure. He stole the sun from the gods, or in this case, the dwarves. Basically, he's one who invented steam technology.
Yeah, yeah. He's the 0 point for the contamination of technology that's basically raping the world. Because one of those interesting little lore nuggets not a lot of attention is drawn to is there's Tarant is surrounded by plains. I think it's called the Moribund Plains, at least on one side, but it's open plains. And it's mentioned like in passing, like, oh yeah, this all used to be a massive forest, and it's just been clear cut over the last decade. Like not long. This is all recent history. They just clear cut all these huge forests into just like a sterile plain, which also excuses some of that procedurally generated just like emptiness. But
Yeah, wood chipper go burr.
yeah, just a giant wood chippers just clear cut everything around it. But and we didn't mention that was part of the conclusion of the Skylers or Schulers, depending how you want to pronounce it. Gilbert Bates, he was the boy that was referenced in the beginning. So the ring belongs to Gilbert Bates. And then when you go outside, you do the stupid "I'm a PC in a video game" move. Ask the local guard, "Hey, who's Bill Gates?" You know what I mean? You step outside. "Hey, who's this Barack Obama character? You know where this
Yeah,
guy's from?"
yeah, he just looks at you confused, like, dude, what the hell?
Yeah, yeah, like the guy that invented technology, like you said, the reason we live here. And he lives in a big palace at the end of the thing, and you can so basically like, okay, I want to go meet him. And so the natural next step, you talk to the guards out front. "Hey, how's old Gilbert? Can I go talk to him?" I think there's a lot of ways this can go. Actually, I'm curious what you did.
Well, most of the time, again, high persuasion. When you're a straight white human male character, and just let you walk right in. I
Yeah,
assume
good, a good character.
you had to take the sewer entrance, I think, right? Because you're a fuck ugly halfling, right?
That's what I did. Yeah. Well, you can also work for it. They're like, okay, we've had some, saboteurs or some kind of mage saboteur conspiracy that's been hinted at earlier, and you can actually deliver the note ordering them to do this in a little side quest where a dark elf in a bar will tell you to deliver a note, and then he'll slit your throat if you read it. But I think if you read it, it's confirming you deliver to like some orc bandits, and it confirms like there's this dark elf conspiracy where they're sabotaging Gilbert Bates' factories. But if you, which you can't join that conspiracy, but you can join like the Night Guard and fight off some like teleporting in bandits to protect their factory. Then the following day they'll let you in to talk to old Gilbert. But suddenly, so you just rizzed your way in.
Yep. Yeah. Again, I like the idea where if again, despite with Todd's Law, you have free access to every main character. You can walk right up to this fragile air balloon in Fallout 4 and talk to the main leader of the faction. While with Gilbert Bates, you have to go through hoops. You have to talk to the guards. You're not going to let any rando walk in. You have to actually convince, and you can't just. It's not speech 100. You actually pay attention to like,
Mm.
oh, I'm a friend of his son. Well, Gilbert Bates has no children. They'll call you out if you like them. Obviously, you have to pay
Mm.
attention to what you know about Gilbert Bates, the man. Even with a high persuasion skill, you still have to pick your dialogue options carefully, so you don't prove yourself as a fake sell to them.
Yeah.
And if you even be let into the front door despite a high persuasion stat.
Yeah, I had no persuasion. And so in the past, I had done do the guard, like oh, I'll work in your factory overnight. I'll fight off these saboteurs. But this time I had one of the most like satisfying gamer moments. Like I was like fingerless gloving like ecstasy playing through this section because like all the pieces fell together perfectly, right? So the other way in, if you speak to Cedric Appleby, who's sort of the competitor of Gates or Bates, sorry,
Yeah, yeah. His name
the
is Appleby.
Appleby
Appleby
Bates.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, Cedric Appleby, Apple computers. I don't know what this could refer to. Apple, or he makes the inferior. This is the one that kind of dates the game. It's very funny because at the time, Apple was a meme. You're too young to remember, but this was the grew up with the shitty, those like jelly bean colored monitor Apple computers. And before that, even especially Apple was a meme, but only 90 kids will know. But but in according to Cain Code, following the Cain Code, it's not like an overt, painful reference where like if you don't get it, it doesn't matter. But anyway, you talk to him, and he's a retard who's just obsessed with humiliating Bates. He knows accurately though. He's a little bit of a based retard because he knows Bates did something. He knows he didn't come up with the steam engine all by himself. But regardless, he'll tell you, he's like, look, I'll pay you or whatever if you, not a lot of money, like 500 gold, which is like I said, I get that much for like stealing little bags of gems for the Thieves Guild. So it's not about the money. It's just he wants to shame him, and he doesn't have any money. But he's like, I'll tell you a secret way into the palace of the mansion of Bates, and there's a in the cemetery. There's like a secret entrance, and it's this really long tunnel with like 4 doors, and it's just trap, 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 lock door, trap, lock and trap door in sequence. And I like rizzed out, like I equipped up. I had Magnus made me these like trap springers to like activate traps. I rizzed up I got a little bit of spot skill, and then I got drugged up. I got a bunch of coke and meth and whatever the fuck from my medic lady, and just like snorted all this wild shit. So my guy was like maximum perception, maximum detection, and I told my followers to wait, and I just thief my ass in, and it was like so satisfying because you would like detect trap. 1 or 2 got me. You have to like patch yourself up, but it's like, okay, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. And then you emerge inside like the staff quarters, and you're able to put on the uniform of one of the butlers to get in. It was super fun.
And it's satisfying. It gives you a reason to you delve so many, you sacrifice so much being a proper stealth build. You're a fuck ugly halfling, right? You commit so much to the stealth build and backstabbing and doing a proper run, and you have your own committed way to do the main quest line. That's completely satisfactory and completely unique to your build.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I've stumbled upon it in the past, but I was aware there was some kind of secret entrance, but I had never had the skills to like use it. So yeah, exactly. It's like it's extremely like satisfying that the world that accommodates it. And generally spot trap, as we referenced before, is like not a frequently useful skill, but at least this is here. And I was like, okay, that alone kind of justified taking it for me. Because it's like, all right, that it creates a really interesting story. And his response is good too. Like Bates has like quite a bit of unique dialogue that varies based on how you approach him and how you choose. Because for mine, it's like he's, you show up, he's like, how dare you speak to me, servant? The impudence you show is like, I'm so sorry, I'm just here to thing. But you know what I did before I even spoke to him? The stealth
You
wasn't done
stole
there.
you stole his shit.
I snuck in. I stole his journal where he admits everything. And so it's similar to with Ritzizi. You could like kill him like you did and torture his soul, or you could torture Bates's soul too. I'm sure he has some pretty juicy dialogue actually.
Yeah,
But
I haven't killed. I like him as a character, so I never kill him. I guarantee you can. It's another aspect thing. You could just kill him. Like you could be a pure utilitarian asshole. Like motherfucker, I am destined to be. You caught me up in this destiny bullshit. I just want to get out of this. You could just be a complete sociopath, go on a genocide run of Arcanum, and still complete the main quest with the resurrect dead spell.
I think you could, and I debated betraying him from the start this time, but there's one thing I'm not sure about, which is the getting passage to the Isle of Despair. That's my only metagamey thing. I would have just betrayed him here and just stolen the journal, because the journal tells you his secret of how he did it, and that the Black Mountain clan is like the origin of the mystery, and he doesn't know where they are now. But that's sort of like the next logical thing you need to investigate. Like somehow the disappearance of this dwarven clan is why you're being attacked. So you should investigate their old home base. So you have all that, but I don't know. I know he like helps connect you to that next step. I don't know. And I don't think it's clear after you leave Black Mountain Clan, like how you would get there. Maybe there is, and I'm just missing it. But anyway, I'm holding off on betraying him until that step, and then I'm gonna fuck this guy over because why not? He was rude to me. My guy holds grudges.
Seething incel freak, or taking vengeance on the beautiful and the strong and the productive.
Yeah, the capitalist class, my little dysgenic freak. Reddit is very against Gilbert Bates. You know why?
Because he's an industrialist. He's like the Elon Musk.
Well, that, but also if you play a female, he says, I've beaten women for less than this. He makes a comment about having beaten women before. Yeah. And so apparently Reddit hates this guy.
Oh my god, he's the Henry Ford. No, because remember he also has views on the orcs. He's like, I have, I treat my orcs very well. I give them 15-minute lunch breaks. I treat them almost as well as humans.
Yeah. And you know what? He makes some points. I mean,
But
if orcs want to leave, they can just leave, right?
yeah, he employs you to be a union buster to break the orcish union.
Yeah. The whole conversation with him is very good.
He's a really realized character. Like, we talked about the Clockwork Revolution and how like one note the industrialists seem in that particular game, even though they're clearly ripping off Arcanum. One of the lead writers of Arcanum is actually being the designer for that game. With Gilbert Bates, he's not your typical like mustache twirling evil industrialist from like the that one Illuminations adaptation of the Lorax. You know, where I'm gonna have a subscription model to breathing air. You know, super ridiculous, evil money bag man kind of thing. Like Gilbert Bates has regrets. Like he feels shame. He was a dwarf. He was a dwarf weeb himself. He loved the dwarves. He was an orphan, and he would spend all his entire youth basically being a dwarvish weeb, going to glorious dwarf land, going to the mountain clan, actually being part of their culture, and like learning all that he can from them, and trying to pimp out his wares and try to show like, hey, look, I can invent stuff too, you know. But he's never really accepted as a dwarf because he's not a dwarf. He's a human. He's a weird human weeaboo. He's a human otaku of their culture, you know. He doesn't take showers, that kind of thing. Like literally like an American otaku, but for dwarves.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
No,
No,
you were
no,
going
go
to say
ahead.
something?
No, just that you'd mentioned him being a Promethean character before. And I think that's really relevant here. Because like you mentioned like the world's kind of passing him by, or like the world's changed in ways he didn't anticipate from introducing it. And it makes him a very tragic figure in a way that he's aware of. Like he is the central character that changed the world, but he didn't mean to.
Yeah, he's Destiny's plaything because, as we know, the designers Tim Kaine unconsciously and Leonard Boyarsky was unconsciously Spengler pilled because Arcanum canonically has a cyclical history. It prescribes the cyclical theory of history because he's just a plaything because it's hinted that technology has existed even before the beginning of Arcanum. We'll get to that much later in the game, but it is hinted that there's a cyclical history thing going on. So he's a plaything of history at this point. And Gilbert Bates actually he is responsible for the disappearance of the Black Mountain clan. That's why he sends you to Black Mountain clan to find out what the hell happened to them. Right, because as soon as he start pimping out because he steals the steam engine designs from the dwarves, he goes full like sour grapes incels. Like, fine, if you won't accept me, I'm going to steal your steam engine designs. Because the dwarves invented the steam engine, but they just use it as a curiosity. It's like when the Greeks invented steam engines, like rudimentary steam engines. They didn't do anything with the steam engines. They just did it as pure curiosity or to open doors. They didn't really do anything actually unique with it, sadly, despite how advanced they were.
Or like the Chinese with gunpowder, right? It's like sometimes it's that making a certain connection of a utility of something that makes all the difference.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Humans, because we're short, they say it in game, because we're short-lived, because we have such short lifespans, we have incentives to be more inventive and creative. Well, when you're guaranteed to live hundreds and hundreds of years, you can be more. You don't have a necessity to innovate. You don't have that drive to innovate like a human does. The humans are the tinkering race because because of our short lifespans, it gives us incentive to tinker and to innovate and to try to do something unique.
And dwarves, I think, are probably the most well-realized race in Arcanum, which we were chatting about off air, just about some of the setting details. And, you know, some of them are more sort of generic, sounds insulting, but they really let you sort of fill in the blanks with this. It's Tolkien, but Tolkienish setting, but, you know, has undergone Industrial Revolution. The dwarves here have a little bit more going on, too, in that they have this sense of, like, culturally, you have to be doing physical work. Like you can't be offloading your work to machinery, at least not to like a great extent. And like other concepts that I think we'll learn more about when we visit some dwarves later, like not city dwarves, like real dwarves, makes them interesting. And also setting wise, like does a good job of justifying why they would have technology, but it wouldn't be utilized in the way humans do. And like you just said, like humans have this different incentive structure where it's like we're short lived. we need to, exploit as much as we can now, and then we don't think about consequences, which would be like pollution, which this setting is already starting to introduce. With in the newspaper, I think it references river pollution and the clear cutting of the forest I mentioned.
Yeah, that's one of the very first newspapers you get. Actually, is about the pollution.
Yeah, and it's not shoved in your face over much, but it's just sort of just the realities of the Industrial Revolution, which the game does a pretty good job of highlighting. I think in some ways it's not as clear, just probably because of the graphics of the time, right? You can't just have like, like you'd have later on in gaming history, like you'd have Grand Theft Auto, you just have like newspapers flying across the ground and more like debris moving around. You couldn't really do that easily with this kind of engine. So that probably would have made pollution more visible, but they reference it enough that it's in your mind that this is like a human driven society because of like the lives of humans controlled by gnomes, I guess. It would be curious to think about like how do gnomes view technology. I don't think the game gets into that. They seem like they're just sort of generically like financial geniuses, but they don't seem to have a policy.
They benefit the most from industrialization. They use it as a way to deterritorialize politics. That's a way how they gain politics. By technology is inherently disruptive and chaotic. Technology is inherently destructive. And remember, gnomes were nobody in the previous order. Gnomes did not have any power in the trad times. But when society worships capital and the proliferation, there's a term.
Proliferation.
Proliferation, thank you. There's another one, but yeah, proliferation of capital, because technology is inherently destructive. All the races that benefit from the trad way of order, the pagan religions, the pagan gods, the nature, all these elves. Elves are hiding out in basically little native reserves in the trees, in the forest, basically. Because magic can even work properly in the cities. Like if magic gets affected by technology as well, it's a two-way street. I mean, technology gets wrecked more by magic, but magic also gets affected by cities. So all the races that benefited from the old hierarchy, it gets entirely inverted with technology. So the gnomes, due to their high ethno-narcissism, if you will, and the fact that they're extremely loyal to their disposition of their people and in all traits, they have such an interior high trust. They benefit from the destruction of technology because all the magic races get nerfed and get replaced while they stay on top by just hoarding all the gold and hoarding all the capital and spending it by proliferating more and more industry, cutting down the trees, pushing the magical races behind, and using humans as meat shields. Because again, they're also longer lived. So they get to have their cake and eat it too. They get to live off of humans' innovation. The humans innovate while the gnomes leech off. They leech off, if you will, in certain ways, the human innovation.
Yeah. The human pays 90% tax. The gnome pays 5%. The gnome owner of the factory versus the employee at the factory. And they are like kind of inverse dwarves, I guess. Like it's not really spoken of in the game, but like functionally they seem to hold like the abstract concept of wealth in the highest regard. And this is like a thought within like environmental circles. Like one of the reasons industrialization is so destructive, especially like our modern era of industrialization, is you can outsource damage to be outside of your site or outside of individual person site because the world is so big. And so you could have really exploitive farming in India somewhere that just completely depletes the planet, or peat bogs in Ireland or Scotland or something. But you don't see it. And if you don't see it, you don't experience it. And so these gnomes are sort of the perfect carrier out of this hyper capitalistic industrial model where you can export the negative externalities to a faraway place, like cutting out like massive deforestation or river pollution. But then all they see is sort of the number on the spreadsheet in their like central location where they're able to hoard the wealth. And so, yeah, it's just an interesting way. I think just by being a realistic setting, it mirrors real world concerns.
Yeah, and remember, and the dwarves are technology, but guess what? They have built-in homes. They live in mountains. They live in an enclosed interior. Their
shit
culture,
where they eat, right?
They shit where they eat. They fuck where they eat. Everything is they're in a little hot pocket of a culture.
Mhm.
That their technology is based on their relationship with the landscape. Not to get full Spinglerian. I would say that for Tarant Part 2, where I give my Spinglerian analysis of all the races. Right, but the dwarves' relationship with technology is profoundly influenced by the landscape of where their races are born. They're born in caves and in tunnels and in
Mhm.
mountains. So their relationship with technology is reflective that all technology has to be in unison and in harmony with the mountains. It has to be honeycombed within the mountain landscape. So the technology has to be rooted and grounded to benefit not only the dwarves, but also be harmonious with the environment and the landscape that they find themselves living in.
Mhm.
Well, the gnomes are wanderers. You can read this in the manual. The gnomes are wanderers. They have no home. Gnomes don't have a home. They're the wandering race.
The
So
wandering tribe, one might say. Yeah.
they live purely through abstraction.
Mhm.
So despite the fact that their relationship with capital harms everything else, they can use capital as a buffer. They're only harnessing, their only unifying aspect is the abstract idea of gnomishness, if you will. As long as
Mhm.
they can wander from city, they're a highly cosmopolitan race, and they add a little bit of the Italian mafia in the lore. The father of all, the head patriarch of a gnomish families are called like dons, I think. So they sprinkle a little bit of other ethnicities, real life ethnicities in there to kind of as a Straussian cloak, what they're actually based on.
For the dagger. Yeah. But it's a very astute, I guess, just like parallel, right? Like industrialization can't happen independently. If you're limited to a certain, like in the dwarf model, a certain location, there's like an inherent traditionalism, there's an inherent resource cap, and like how much you're willing to exploit a land versus maybe have more like a permaculture, like, okay, let's, how much can we regenerate, how much do we really need perspective. Whereas when you globalize, have a mass market, it it completely changes the way you view resources, right? Because now it's no longer like this is ours, it's rather what can I acquire and then bring back to the, sort of imperial capital, which is Tarant in this setting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great, and also notice the humans, because we're so short-sighted and we don't have that ethno-narcissism unlike certain races. Appleby, instead of like teaming up, Appleby, who is based on, of course, and also in lore, I think the reason why is because Tim Kaine hated Apple because they had to port Fallout 1 to the Apple computers, and Apple notoriously their computers are absolute dog shit as gaming PCs.
Mm.
Like a like a I think it was famous. I think it was famously that Steve Jobs did not give a shit about gaming. Like he just did not care about the gaming culture or gaming industry at all. Actually,
Mm.
despite being such a profitable industry. So yeah, so Apple computers were notoriously like balls dragging through glass hard to port to.
Yeah, I believe it. I remember back in the day, it was kind of a meme if you had an Apple computer, so you just wouldn't be able to play literally anything. Which obviously you could get some stuff, but it was infamously just, yeah, buggy and shitty to run on Apple. And I
Yeah,
believe it because, yeah, he was very strongly opinionated on systems back then.
yeah. So of course, the Apple computer, the Apple Steam engine doesn't work. It's a shitty Steam engine. Just do Bill Gates. Bill Gates PCs are the ones that actually work.
Yeah.
And,
Um,
and that's another aspect because humans are short-sighted, we're just short-lived, and humans are individualistic, while gnomes are collectivist. So you don't see one gnomus businessman fighting another gnomus businessman. Overwhelmingly, they unite for their common like a gnomisism, if you will.
mhm,
They're like the Zionism of the race, if you will.
mhm.
While humans are individualistic and short-sighted and short-lived, they are constantly fighting each other. There's the constant brother wars, if you will, of humans, while gnomes are always trying to think long-term for their own people.
Yeah, that definitely happens. And with Durnholm, which we've already been to, right? Like even there, like the king is pretty much everyone's against him in the country. It seems like he's not well respected, and he, I mean, talk about a the man dragged down by the gnomish war machine. Like they're kind of a nation on their last leg. And then the gnomes are also trying to get into the other major power, Caledon, which is a quest I don't even remember the details of. So I guess we'll get into that when it comes up. At this point, we've seen, because
Caledon,
it's a
they're
major
the
plot point
second.
later.
They're the
there's a
second most
newspaper.
advanced. If I recall correctly, they're the
Yeah,
second most advanced city, and they also, I think, they even have their own museum. If I recall correctly.
they might. I don't remember it as well. Like again, the whole everything after Black Mountain Clan is like very vague in my mind. Like it's much this stuff is all much more. I'm retreading familiar ground, and I know Caledon also has like they're more balanced. They have magic and technology both represented with some power and like a constitutional monarchy, as opposed to Tarant, which is like an sort of an oligarchy of these sort of like techno gnomish elite for the most part. The Merchants Guild is running the show they're openly sort of the people in
Yeah.
power.
Gnome industrialists bankrolled the revolution to dethrone the king,
Mhm.
in order to have rootless capital take over Tarant.
Yeah, the only thing they're missing is like a communist movement that's also gnomish in some way or largely run by
Well,
gnomes.
you do get a national socialism of a sort, but the plot twist, it's an orcish national socialism.
Yeah, I mean just like in America, right?
Yeah, Nick Fuentes,
Yeah,
nationalism.
yeah. We'll get to him later. But yeah, that would be an interesting one in if they ever did an Arcanum too, like have a more
Sweetie, how
clear
can you
socialist.
be a national socialist if you have an orcish last name?
But that's really the meat of Tehran. I'm actually surprised we got through it as fast as we did after Drag Your Feet before. But I think we've gotten through maybe some of the front matter of like system stuff. I have some stuff on thieving skills. I maybe I'll cover that later. But I use that during my little sneak. Was it spot and disarm trap? Just not the most useful skills, like we said before, but so satisfying to use here. And I think it's going to be coming in handy because next up is the Black Mountain Clan.
Let's go.
Tape your
This
butts.
now this is the actual equivalent of the damn sewer level for Arcanum. For Vampire, it's the sewer level. For Arcanum, it's the Black Mountain Clan. It will
Yeah.
drag your balls through the concrete, and we will do a Tarant part 2 because once we refresh ourselves with Tarant to do more a deep dive into side quests. Because another aspect of Tarant, like I like all the plot stuff. I love H.T. Parnell's Museum of Wonders, where
Hmm.
they throw in a Brahmin reference to the two-headed cow that went extinct.
Oh yeah. From Vendigroth too. It's like the blasted wastes. It's such a good callback.
Yeah, it's a great callback, and so H.T. Barnell, which is of course a reference to P.T. Barnum. So of course he's a faker. He has a fake of Sasquatch, a fake Bigfoot, which is just a shitty statue. He has a fake steam engine made of toothpicks and toothpicks and duct tape. He has the world's smartest orc, and again, it establishes a lore and then it subverts the lore because it's revealed that the orc, who's like he knows mathematics, he's high IQ. So you're like, oh, I guess orcs aren't all stupid. I guess there are intelligent orcs, right? That's the normal would say, see, chud, racism is debunked. Racism is debunked. But no, the reason why the orc is intelligent, spoiler alert for like a 20-plus-year-old game, the orc is actually just a human with a skin condition.
Is it a skin condition or is it like a magical I came out as an orc because actually humans and orcs are related or something weird like that?
Yeah, he's a
I've
weird.
actually never recruited him.
I think he's a genetic throwback. I think it is some
Mhm.
weird, like hyper, like weird genetic anomaly thing. He's literally a mutant. He's a human. He has the stats of a human, but he has the appearance of an orc. Of course, I think that's what the wife just told his poor father.
She got orked.
Yeah, but no. So that's why he's as intelligent as a human because he is a human.
Mm.
He's just got no Trumpisatva. Don't put me in the orc body. He sadly got born into an orc's body, just like Joseph Goebbels got reincarnated into a Jew.
Yeah, Miller.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's
there's
such a
so much side stuff. Like I think we just didn't want to bog it down too much, but I mean I think that's a good one. And actually Parnell we have to come back to specifically. Like he's actually plot relevant before you can even progress onto Stillwater, I think it is. I think before you go there you have to talk to him to get
and,
something.
and he does foreshadow Aranax because remember he one of the few genuine things he has is a statue of Aranax, the skull of Aranax.
Mm-hmm.
And
Or at
he
least the
foreshadows
supposed skull of
and
Aranax.
and it gives the lore about what happens with the elves, and the elves try to conquer the world and have complete elfish domination of mankind. And so there's one of the few moments of foreshadowing that doesn't revolve the Ponari. And the little things. One of the other things that really touched me of the genuine writing is when you do the when you do the phrenology quest line. Of course, actually, the head of phrenology, I forgot, actually is a gnome. He's the head of phrenology, and he's the one who sends you grave robbing for the twin skulls.
Mhm.
For the sake of study for phrenology, the cure of all humanity's ills would be eugenics. Phrenology, all human ills will be gone in 50 years. And that's one of the options of the orc question. That's the progressive answer to the Orcus question. We'll delve into the Orcus question a little bit later with the island
Yeah,
in the second part.
and the university too. We gave this university area short shrift because it's not super relevant to this section. Like this really was more about like the southern end of the city. And so yeah, when we return, I think we'll hang out there, and then we actually go to Isle of Despair following that.
Yeah, I just wanted to reference this because another thing that touched me in my first playthrough when I ended up when I was exploring and randomly ended up in the Tarantian graveyard without doing the side quest. But there's one random grave, and it's very good writing. It's for a random grave. It says, it's a poor boy, 19, atheist, all dressed up and nowhere to go.
That always stuck with me.
You
There's a
too?
couple other quips on the gravestones too. They were funny.
Like it's a good line, even from a writing standpoint. Like poor boy, all dressed up and nowhere to go. Right? It
Mhm.
sticks with you. Because as an atheist, of course, he doesn't believe in afterlife, so there's nothing for him. Of course, and also, not only is it a good line by itself, but we don't want to spoil it. But it ties into the very main question, the philosophical question of the entire point and plot of Arcanum, which is the afterlife and death, and the meaning of life.
Oh, you know, what else we haven't didn't get to is some of the AI, or not AI, but like the way text is generated. Like there's some really cool stuff there too. I need to refresh myself on. There's a Cain video on it, like the newspaper system and some of the like random text generation stuff. I need to like educate myself so we can talk about it more in a more informed way.
Tim actually said because he actually said we should have cut the newspaper, but Boyarsky's like, no. Boyarsky in the interview with Boyarsky was the head writer of this. He's like, no, the
Mhm.
newspapers were the best part, and that's a true nuke from Boyarsky.
It is. It is. See, the artistic sensibilities of Boyarsky prove out yet again. Never question him.
Yeah, it's correct. The
Mhm.
newspapers add so much lore and flavor. Like half of the joy walking through Toronto is to see the little guy going extra, extra. Read all about it. Swordsmith gets gang stalked by Orcish nationalists or wherever the hell. Right? It's the newspapers add so much depth and lore and reactivity because like
Mhm.
if for all the Bethesda heads, the newspapers are how you get the reactivity to your side quests. Like lone wanderer or hero of the SF Zephyr saves woman's painting. It's how you get your quest results. It's how you see your actions have
Mhm.
consequences in the world. The results of the choices
Did
you
you
choose in
sell
side
your
quests.
story? You sold your story to the newspaper guy?
Yes, I did. I
What
did.
a glory hog! What a attention craving! I kept my lips sealed.
But he offers you almost double the money. He increases the gold to 800 gold.
I guess that is good. My guy's just so rich from robbing people, but I think it increases how much you get attacked
It
on the
does.
road. Yeah.
It gives you consequences. We talked about this a little earlier
Mhm.
about if you tell the story to the head journalist, everyone knows you're the survivor of SS Zephyr. The Malachian hand will go after you because you blab. It's in the front page of the New York Times. Your face is in the front of the New York Times for all intents and purposes.
Mhm.
You're a glory
Yeah,
hog.
exactly.
So for the 800 gold, you get attacked way more. The consequences of being the protagonist. Which yet again, in Bethesda RPGs, there's no consequences to being Dragonborn. In certain occasions, but there is consequences for being a loudmouth or having main hero syndrome. It forces you yet again to keep your mouth shut. It gives you both a narrative and mechanical reasons for wanting to keep your mouth shut and actually
Mhm.
treating it realistically. I don't want a target on my back.
Yeah, yeah, it's so satisfying, and it makes sort of role playing out in a logical way, just like with the thieving thing about finding the secret tunnel. It's satisfying to be like, okay, I kept my mouth shut. I did the smart thing, and then you find out later that you got attacked less because of it, which you need because good God, do you get attacked a lot when you try to walk anywhere in this game? As we talked about last time, it's one of my issues with it, and we're gonna hit a lot of it as soon as we leave Toronto. We'll just have people crawling all over us.
Yet again, another accurate depiction of the modern day UK. But Another aspect I want to touch on briefly before we end this is the idea that restriction enforces creativity. Because one of our very own fans, one of our toppest tuggers, who every slop fiend loves LMD. That's our most normie friendly. It's safe Tookies, safe Tookies LMD.
Yeah.
That's where we get all our slop viewers from, is LMD conspiracy brain weirdos, right? They're our most generic. They're the slop fiends. They're our
Yeah.
most aristocratic.
Flavorless,
Of course,
dependable.
our most aristocratic, the people who don't want constant weekly live stream slop, is of course the Tookie Digest and the Game Grab Baggers.
Aficionados, yeah.
They know how to retain. They're looking for their 3 monthly hit. Second episode of Craft of Shadows, right? And you bitching about book design covers.
It's coming, guys.
Frenemy of the show, Miles McNaughton. But our true patrician, the absolute contrarians, love Cain Corner. The fact that it has the least views of all our videos goes to show the true aristocrats are the people who don't watch the book reviews. They're the people who only watch the Cain Corner.
Well, I'm moving this to its own channel, so hopefully maybe that will ease that up, and now just normal randos can stumble in. But we'll see.
Yeah, well, the reason why I brought that up is because the person I'm talking about, Samsara, shout out to Samsara, so he started playing this because of us, and he chose to play as a female, and he's playing it in the most hardcore way. Virgil died. He doesn't have the dog died. He didn't save the dog in time in Ashbury, so he has no companions. He's a female tech build. He tried to do the painting quest, but yeah, because you can't, as a female character, you actually are not allowed into the gentleman's club. Only males are allowed into the gentleman's club, and canonically, the bouncer would tell you to fuck off if you're a female. So as a woman, you have to go an entirely different route because of the societal standards, the basic curriculum standards of Tarant. You had to find entirely another unique way to find a resolution to the painting quest.
Yeah, that's the Cain code. It's not easy to follow because you got to think through all these things. But it makes it more satisfying, which is why, if anything, I wish Arcanum was probably a little shorter, because replaying, I think, is a lot of the fun, because you get to get these different dynamics, and by memory, the game runs a little bit long at the end. We'll see. I gotta think these episodes also, I think things will move faster as we get out of probably the Black Mountain clan in particular. We start moving a little more plot beat to plot beat. But yeah, maybe we get Samsara in at some point to have him as a guest or something. He had the most cursed playthrough from like the little bullet point list he made. I was like, I have literally never heard of anyone having any of this shit, because he's a Zoomer too. So like, he has different expectations coming into this. As a millennial, I was raised a little bit with my mother's milk on some of like the norms of this. And it's so interesting to see people, different generations, play these things, whether older or younger. And they just have a different mindset, different set of expectations.
Yeah, I love. He's playing in the most. He really is most cursed. No companion. Virgil. How the fuck do you let Virgil die?
Gutter. Yeah, I've never seen that. Or at least usually you load save if it does. But he's a healer.
Nope, just dragging your balls through the concrete. Nope, I'm going to just continue on playing. I'm like, fuck saving. He's an autosave baby. We're an autosave baby. We just assume it's going to autosave. Nope, there's no autosave in Arcanum, bitch.
I do miss autosave. I never thought I'd be that guy, but it does that. The other thing, my makes me think more like I'm a zillennial at heart, because I was craving fast travel in Toronto, specifically what we already have, with the little subways. You have to go to a booth, you pay 2 coins, blah, blah, blah. I was like, shit, the one modern change this could use, hit the M button so the map pops up, and then just click on, like, now it doesn't have to be this exact building, but just like the area. Like, that would have saved a lot of walking, which I like walking around Toronto. Like you said earlier, like you would just I enjoy it too. But when you're a techie, you do more walking, because you'll always find yourself visiting. Oh, I got to go to the junk dealer because I need to get 3 springs so Magnus can build me a trap springer. Oh shit, I need to make the electrical parts. I have to go to the inventor guy, or I have to go to this or this. I have to check some trash cans on the other side of town. You do more walking, and the time adds up to an annoying degree. I was like, God, having that button would have been amazing just to zip around.
you can, as you say this, you can feel the lips of Ta caressing your ear.
Todd the Seductor. I mean, what can I say? It's Oblivion has a great fast travel system. I can't complain.
Well, you know who also fell for seduction is, of course,
Hmm.
Tim Kaine himself. That's how we got Outer Worlds. So what you're asking for inevitably leads to Outer Worlds, my dude.
Yeah, it is a slippery slope. I understand the slippery slope, and I don't think it's a fallacy to make that argument. So I will happily keep what we have if that's what it takes. But
Now, getting rid of hit-based chance combat, that's okay. That
that's a
was
step
100%
too
a
far.
bad
No,
feature.
that's
That was a bad
foul,
feature. It was
foul.
a bad feature. That's one thing I am proud to be a Zoomer is it was not implemented. It conceptually can be implemented well. It was not implemented well in Morrowind.
All right, that's a whole Slop Kings episode there, which I have notes for. I just need an action to trigger it. Like we need some event where some
What,
Zoomer cries, some Twitch streamer cries and makes the front page.
will that be part of the prequel debate? Is the more hit-based combat is bad?
Oh yeah. Zoomers don't
Once once
understand.
once you succumb to the post prequel, once we once we completely destroyed post prequel consensus and proved to you that the prequels are good, once you kneel to the Zoomer army of the prequel patriots, we will also convince you that modding Morrowind's combat is always correct.
So you always hit. Wait, but you don't think it's a problem in Arcanum
No, because it makes sense in Arcanum.
because it's overhead view. It's whatever
Yeah,
the view is called, isometric.
yeah, it actually because you actually see the hit chances. You actually know consciously it says 45% chance to hit, 60% chance to hit, and because
Hmm.
of the over the God's eye view, and because there's a distance to combat, there's no sense, especially since it's turn based as well. I think even Tim Kaine says the proper way to play Arcanum is turn based. He wanted it turn based from the jump, but the
Yeah.
developers were jerking off the Baldur's Gate that all RPGs had to be real time. So the canonical way to play Arcanum is turn based. There's a sense of strategy. Okay, I can do this with 45% chance. I can throw a grenade, even though I don't. No one puts in points in fucking throwing. I'm sorry,
Hmm.
Tim, unless you're doing a boomerang build, which actually is a real build you can do in Arcanum. By the way, is the boomerang build. Apparently, it's
Yeah.
actually it's quite
Pretty
OP.
pretty good. Yeah. Um,
But as a persuasive Giga Chad, I let my half orc slaves fight for me, right? Um,
hmm.
but so there's a sense of strategy to an over the head view of combat versus the first person view of Morrowind. There's a sense of intimacy and there's a sense of tension, right? Because once you're actually immersed, like, oh shit, I'm gonna die, you start spamming the left click, and when you're spamming it, you think it's a glitch. You generally do think you even though like consciously I know it's like there's invisible dice rolling in the background. There's a
Hmm.
intuitive like disconnection. It hits my nerve the wrong way. Seeing my sword go through a dude and it not hitting its hitbox, even though like
Hmm.
consciously I know it's because of the dice in the background. It just there's an intuitive disconnect between first person view hitting my sword through a dude and it not connecting, and me hitting the button. It's just something intuitively wrong with it.
I think it's missing an animation would be the easiest thing. With it when it's above you, like you said, when you're looking isometrically at it, it misses. You get it because you saw the percent, whatever. But when it's just in your face and you're swinging, it needed like a parry, like your guy like swings and get knocked back, or like swings and it's like weirdly low. It just like looks visually different, so you get some visual feedback of, oh, I rolled poorly and I attacked poorly. But when it's just the identical swing, 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 swing overhand, it doesn't give you any of that. It doesn't match. Like you have a higher fidelity level of animation, partially, but then not when there's an error. And so like they needed to add. I think that's where the discrepancy comes from and why it looks so jarring. Um, so I don't think Zoomers are crazy for finding disorienting because that's something that's been afterward was added in some, but Bethesda again, that is a Taz law in actually solution is just like, oh, just make it so they never miss, rather than saying, oh, how about we have more dynamic combat where we have more animations for the enemy, where they can like do a dodge movement, or more animations for your weapon where each weapon has like a miss movement. So I think you are actually falling victim to Todd's law by saying he solved all our problems, the great Todd, by giving us permanent every time hit for sure. Give me my little dopamine squirties and my noggies. But
What?
actually, you're just
No,
taking the bait.
no, conceptually, I don't mind a conceptual. I do think if you had like a visual reactivity, like let's say you have a critical failure, you hit a sword on the guy's shield, and you see your sword shatter. I think it would be really cool to see that in a first-person POV. Shit, my sword shattered. What did I do? It's the you get worse of both worlds in the way Morrowind did it. But now we have the graphical and mechanical complexity. Now we're able to do that, where because you get more, I get more dopamine. Like I have one hit point left in Fallout 2. I managed to score like a critical. I only had 20% chance of hitting the death claw in the eyeballs. I got a critical success, 100 damage, instantly killed the death claw on my last. There's the sheer dopamine rush of landing a lucky critical, despite only having less than 20% chance of hitting him in the eyeball. It's so satisfying to land a random critical success. Well, in Morrowind, you don't get a satisfaction of the critical success because you don't
Yeah.
get that visual feedback of critical success like you do in the OG Fallouts.
Yeah, I agree. You get like a hit, like you get the little blood splatter in Morrowind, and then in actually in Arcanum you get pretty good crit animations. We haven't praised those yet, but have you seen some of those where like you stab someone and they just split down the middle, or their head
Yeah,
pops clean off? It's pretty wild.
yeah, it happens to me every time.
Yeah,
Like,
it happened to
yeah,
me when I
or
crit failed and I literally decapitated myself.
oh yeah, or in Fallout where you literally you could turn a small a child into ash with your energy weapons.
Yeah, actually, one last thing. So we're prepping to go into the Black Mountain Clan mines, BMC, the infamous mines. And I think next time we'll cover that. We'll talk to, maybe we'll do a little more Tarant, the return to Tarant after, but what's the prep? Like, what should we do? Because here's my thing. I am going straight there next. Like, but do you think you should level up, like grind and stuff at this point? For anyone that's like just kind of listening along as they play, and they're like, oh, okay, I'll listen to the Black Mountain Clan after I listen to it. Like, what should they do in the
Stack.
highest level detail? Because I'm sure we'll talk through it a little more next time, like what we actually did.
I'm going to my save right now to see where's my Black Mountain Clan save. Because oh my god, I remember how brutal it fucking was. For if I remember correctly, my character was level 27 when I did it, and it was still a bitch to do.
Oh my god, that's really good too. That's like I think the common knowledge I saw online was people saying, yeah, level 20 is probably a good level to go. I think I went level. I'll have to double check. I'm not at my computer that has Arcanum, but I think I was level 18 or 19 or something like that. So and again, my build turned out to be OP. So like I would say don't go until you're 20. You probably want to go and maybe grind in what's it called, blackberry or whatever, blackroot.
Well,
Like maybe go, yeah, do that.
what's mandatory? Get the dog in Ashbury. Get the dog in Ashbury. Because the
Oh,
problem with
good solution. Yeah,
because all the fucking rock creatures will destroy your weapons and destroy your companions' weapons. It's just so annoying. So because the dog has teeth of titanium, so he can just go through the granite rats, no problem. Yet again, the Tim Kane's rats strike again, basically.
yeah. Return to the rats. Yeah, I think that's probably the highest level thing to do. At least grind to level 20. Like just wander the countryside to fight monsters, do some quests in either Blackroot or Ashbury, which we're not going to do. We'll probably do some of those later, but yeah, get the dog. That's huge. The dog is really OP. And then also anyone that's a melee fighter, give them maybe like one or two extra, at least two or three extra melee weapons because they're going to need them. You'll find more there, but it's good to come in with some on staff and just be ready to get your shit pushed in.
And to be fair, I think I'm gonna make this argument maybe when we do it, but I think we're just too dopamine fried. I think we're giving Black Mountain Clan a little bit too much harsh criticism.
Yeah.
Because again, if you put points into traps, you could detect all the traps. There's also scrolls to detect traps all over the mountains. There's also teleportation scrolls all over when you find Malachian body, when the body is a Malachian hand. They all have like teleport back to cave entrance. They all
Dude, I
basically have
have a
recall.
shitload of thoughts. Yeah, I'm retaining because I don't want to get into it. It's going to be a whole thing, and it might be a shorter episode because I don't want to be just like, oh, then I fight this guy, and then I fight this guy. But I do want to like cover it level by level a bit because I actually have some high praise for it. and there's some low lows, some really low lows.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
objective, it just, you have to pay attention. You have to turn off your lo-fi music. You have to lock in, actually pay attention. And yes, you have to use the scroll of detect traps instead of just we're constantly reloading to save to try to figure out where the traps are.
yeah. You were saying you're going to brute force it, but once you make contact, wow, this sucks. I need something to get me through these easier. But okay, so let's retaining.
One final tip, by the way: do not be afraid to go back to the exit. I don't care how long it takes. Go all the way back to the entrance of the cave and rest right in front of the cave's entrance. Literally sleep outside in the foot of the cave. Sleep sleep for 4 days straight until you're fully healed. I had to do that, I think, 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. It's a slog. Okay, we'll retain there. Thank you. Please like, comment, and subscribe on this stuff. Check out some of our other videos. We got some other cool stuff. Check out our backlog.
Well, this is going up on the new channel, so this is going to be the front log.
Yeah, but I'm debating doing some. I'm not narrated, but maybe just talk through some of my old like gamer articles and doing some stuff like that. Like I have my what's my one? What's like the anarchist theory of Gamergate. God, what's the name of the I can't remember the name of my article, my own article now. But I was thinking maybe doing some of those. Maybe I'll pop those on here.
Your ancient Gamergate article.
Yeah, exactly. It's more relevant today than ever. And the plan is we'll keep doing this series and hopefully Vampire next and some of these other Todd gems.
And we'll pretend to do Temple Elemental Evil.
I don't know if I can do that one, to be honest, dude. I actually fifth. This is a sidebar. I have I've downloaded it. I actually even got the mods to check it out after we were talking last time, and it just looks really fucky. Like the resolution is weird. I'm not super into crunchy D&D 3.5 combat. Like I've never enjoyed Icewind Dale or any of those, and that's kind of what it is. Like it's very much this is about combat, and
you give me shit for not being a hardcore RPG player.
Well, if you're gonna do it right, damn it. But there's just not much like crunchy story there. Like and the choice that is a whole separate thing, and I was very cursory with it. But yeah, it didn't click for me. So we might have to skip right into Outer Worlds too.
Actually, that's a good question. Should we do Outer Worlds? Because it is a Cain game. We have no choice. If we're being true to the Cain corner, we will have to cover.
If you run long enough,
cover the rise. Cover the rise.
Cover the fall.
We have to cover the fall. And
his redemption. I think he'll be redeemed after this. He's gonna say, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go remake Arcanum or Arcanum 2." But
we'll go get Fallout 3, dudes. There's still hope. Microsoft owns Obsidian and Tim Cain, even though he's not he quit from Obsidian. There's still hope. Bill Gates himself will give Fallout back to Tim Cain. He's not elderly yet. He's only 55. He's still a sensitive young man.